What's going on, folks? Yes, it's Chris from TheDatingDoc, and we are doing our first ever History in the Making. We're here at a studio. This has been an idea that has now become reality. First off, this entire video is sponsored by Spirit Halloween. 50% off, okay? Get your kink costumes out there. I'm just playing, just joking. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about long distance dating, okay? But I got some guests with me, so we're going to introduce Ashley and Tony. So Ashley, take it off.
All right, so yes, my name is Ashley. I am a man named Ashley, and I've been working with the Dating Doc for a few weeks now. I actually am a part of the content creation and editing over on that side. I also co-host two podcasts, Collateral Cinema Movie Podcast and Collateral Gaming Video Game Podcast, and I'm starting a career in software engineering. As far as dating goes, it's been a little while since I've been in a serious relationship, but I have been married before and happy to be a part of the team.
Awesome, man. That's what I'm talking about. And I got introduced. Quick story here. Okay, so Tony, okay, he probably thought I was stalking him. Okay, he maybe did, but he used to live maybe 0.1 or 2 miles away, and we talked about we're gonna do something together. And finally, I meet him in person. We've been talking digitally for a while. So, Tony, tell the folks out there about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a military brat. Really don't have a home. Everywhere's my home. Being around here, been living, like I said, Chris, for some years now before we started actually working together and stuff like that. So I'm a male model, I'm a musician. I am not single, however. I've been married before, and I've got plenty of experience in dating. I've been the best man of a couple of weddings. My experience with dating and that whole thing is, we got to talking about it. He was like, look, man, I know you know the fashion thing, but we really need to talk about this dating thing. And so I'm all for it to help people have better conversations so they have better connections.
That's what I'm talking about. See, so, again, it's all about making an idea reality. And a lot of people out there in YouTube world, TikTok, Instagram, they're all about their own little ideals. But imagine when you can get a group together and we can talk and vibe on different opinions. And it might get a little bit heated during this show. We may agree on a lot, we may not, but it takes you, the viewer, to let us know what you're thinking as well. So we're going to talk about, okay, and I'm going to tell you this crazy story first off. We're going to talk about long distance relationships. Long distance. Okay, especially in this swiping world out here. Okay, this ADD world. But so back in the days, back when MySpace, I'm aging myself. Okay, this is like BC, right? We're talking about MySpace, right? So back when I was on MySpace, I was talking to this woman. And I thought she was, pretty good looking and whatnot. Saw some photos of a Marine rank and her running. I was like, okay, she's military. She lives in my hometown. I'm also a military brat. I grew up in Killeen, Texas. So I write her on MySpace and I'm like, hey, would you like to meet up sometime, right? Doesn't respond at all. Okay. Years go on and I joined Match.com. Okay, this is why I'm, part of the Dating Doc. I got all this experience, right? So I'm on Match and I do this world or nationwide search, right? Okay. For a certain type of physical age I'm looking for, right? Yeah. And I see this woman. I said, that's the same woman I was talking to on MySpace. Okay, hold up, people. You're not going to believe the story. You got to hold on to it. Yeah. So this is wild. Okay. I talked to her and she says, I dare you to come down to Atlanta this weekend, right? Again, we were just talking barely for maybe a couple weeks. I go and visit her in Atlanta. Right, we do the whole what's that called? The little we call it slide for life in the military. Little get on the
little swing, the little slide thing.
Slide thing, right? We do all that adventurous and whatnot, right? I come back. I didn't mention anything about MySpace that we talked years ago on MySpace. So then I wait. No, she didn't. No. So then weeks later, I say, hey, by the way, did you ever live in Killeen? Because we talked on MySpace. Yeah. This is crazy, right? Halloween just happened. This is kind of spooky. So she says, I've never lived in Killeen, but my ex-boyfriend did. So we come find out. I promise on any day that you believe out there. I met and talked to the catfish years ago, and I met the real person, states, a couple states to the right of us, years later. True story.
Whoa! So you actually met your catfish.
I met the catfish. Yeah. So I say that because that was a long distance. It didn't really turn into a relationship. Honestly, this crazy ex kind of killed it for me because I was like, man, what's going on here? You know, what she did to Andrew. But with that said, we're going to talk about long distance dating, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix it up here.
Okay.
I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to ask, what are 2 benefits to long distance dating compared to local dating, right? You know, having them close to you. So I'm gonna start off with Tony. Tony, 2 good reasons to do long distance dating.
All right, 2 good reasons would be you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself. That's one, because when you meet somebody, it's like that first time, you never get to reinvent that first impression. So if I meet the person for the first time and everything, we meet at, you know, Chick-fil-A or something like that, like you never get to do it all. You spill sauce on your shirt, you goof up, you get nervous, sweaty palms, you spill a drink, whatever. Nobody's ever gonna forget that, you know. And so, you know, with the long distance, it's really just, I mean, these days, you FaceTime. You know what I mean? You can set that up yourself. You can crop out your background. You can fix certain things about yourself.
You don't even have to have pants on.
Yeah, you don't even have to wear pants. I could be all in my Calvin Klein little underwear, just chilling like, oh, hey, what's going on? Have a little top with it, whatever. And I can be this whole new person. So I have an opportunity to be somebody I really wanted to be for somebody because they don't get to actually meet me and see my mannerisms and all that. You know, the second thing is I'm not really tracked. So, you know, when I say I'm here, it's not like you're there. If I say I'm going to Walmart on the east side of town, like I know I'm not going to run into nobody that you know there. Yeah. So I can casually, you know, just be myself and be like, cool, you know, I had that pressure like, she could be here. I could run into her. You know, we get it all together. You know, I'm going to Walmart. We make sure it's all together. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. I can just sit here and be myself, and I can prepare for somebody. You know what I mean? And I think that's the mess up when it comes down to face-to-face. You know, you don't really get a chance to kind of prepare those last-minute things. You get real subconscious about your look. No, it's a phone call. You text me and say, hey, let's talk. You like, hold on, give me 5 minutes. Let me do this right quick. You know what I mean? Versus when they come over and here you are going through a mass run around your house. Oh, God, I can't believe I got socks on my pillows. You know, trying to get everything up. You know, I can't believe. So it's like you want to make sure that, you know, you have that space. So it's cool when you can actually do it at distance. You can get prepared.
I like that. It's like remote work of dating, right?
For sure.
I mean, you don't really have to clock in. You don't have to have your pants on, right? You may be putting in the work. You might be putting in more work. Long distance, you might be putting in less work, right?
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's a big world out there, right? And back in the days, I'm talking like World War II, they used to have the message in a bottle. What I'm saying by that, used to write a note and say, you know, put it in a bottle and throw it out in the ocean, and hopefully the tweet, the DM gets to that person, right? Probably take a couple months, you know. So now I'm gonna flip it, but I'm gonna ask a different question, okay?
Okay.
Similar, but what are 2 reasons or 2 disadvantages when it comes to long distance compared to local dating?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, no sex. That's a big deal breaker.
For real.
Right. Yeah. You know, you don't get any of that like physical, intimate moments. You know, you don't get to really know that person as well. So that's a big disadvantage when it comes to that. Yeah. As far as another disadvantage goes, I mean, you really don't actually know who that person is, right? I mean, like whenever you get to know somebody in person and you're around them all the time, you pick up on little things, you know, their little habits, little parts of their personality. When you're dating online, you only get to see the parts of them that they want you to see.
Right.
So you don't know who they genuinely are.
Like the same reason I said for an advantage, like I get to hide something from somebody. Like she doesn't know I got socks on my pillows. So you kind of like the disadvantage. Like I want to know who this person really is, and you can't because she has an opportunity, or he has an opportunity to kind of hide that. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like it's. Depending on which side of the coin you're on, it's a disadvantage and then there's advantages for the other person.
Can be either one. One thing more occurs.
I like that.
For real.
So, okay, I'm going to have y'all, I'm going to do this real quick and y'all think of a number, okay, of how long if you're in a long distance relationship, how long until you need to decide you need to live together, right? Because you can't do a long distance relationship for 8 years or, after a while, you're like, holy smokes, what's going on here, right? So I want y'all to think whether it's months or years, right? And I don't know if I want to use the word ultimatum, right?
Right.
You have to set some sort of goal, right? To quote unquote, get back in the office, if you know what I'm saying? To either live together or possibly look at moving to a closer city or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Because I say that because it's the law of diminishing returns, right? You can do long distance. It is very manageable. You can go out there, you can, get on your Bumble and go search in Malaysia for all you want, right? But after a certain point, you'd be like, look, okay, this whole 90-day fiance thing, it's 90 days, we got to make it happen, right? Right. So at what point, okay, and I'm gonna randomly pick. At what point do we need to start? That couple need to start looking at living together.
I think once you've both made visits to each other. So like I visited you, you visited me, maybe we've met some family, gone to some holidays together. That's the point at which we should start thinking about, right? That's the point where we should start planning, where we should start saying, okay, we need to figure out where we're gonna go. Are we gonna kick it at my place, at your place? Or are we gonna find somewhere else new to be together? But you want to start being in those planning stages, and that can take some time, months, years. Somebody's got to find a new career, right?
So give us, if that's all happening, right? You met the parents, you hung out, you've seen each other, visited both cities and whatnot, countries. Give us like a ballpark figure, you think? Like a time?
I don't know, maybe like 6 months to a year.
Okay, that's
Y'all
good.
have been a steady thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you really actually have built kind of that foundation of trust that's so important to a relationship,
And by that time, you could look like a mess on FaceTime because, you want to increase your interaction with that man or woman, right? So if you're looking a little jacked up, you're making that sacrifice so you can make time for the person who at first you might be done up. May not still have your pants on, but you're done up. Tony, what about you? What do you think timeline?
I'm looking at about a year.
Okay.
Because we can have those conversations, and I say about 6 months, the conversation should be had.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if we make it, to that point, we've been doing this for 6 months now, so somebody bring it up and you're like, is it easier for you to relocate or, how do you feel about me being in the same city, that kind of thing. And I think once that conversation gets had for those, carrying on, you should know by a year if you'll be able to make it or not. You know what I mean? So I think by 6 months, we'll have that conversation. And then by the year, we should know what's happening. And then we'll help each other do whatever. You know what I mean? So I've done that. And it's worked out successfully. I had a couple of long distance. And it came down to that. But it helped me also not waste time. Yeah. So we started having that conversation. She realized she wasn't going to leave her city. I was kind of tied up. I was like, okay. We made it run for a little bit, but we needed that closeness. So, we went ahead our separate ways, and it was cool, it was peaceful because we had that understanding. So I think 6 months you should have that conversation. You've seen each other a couple times, you enjoyed each other's city, and everybody starts having that conversation. Man, do I like it in this city? Don't I like it in this city? And eventually you'll have that conversation. You should know.
I like that. See, and the difference here, we talked about relationships when it comes to long distance, right? Because if you have a situationship, we just, made out with that person in gate, 47 at the airport, you may not owe them that kind of set time, right? But you also have to set those parameters. If it's a situationship, I'm just going to FaceTime you every now and then, a little bit of entertainment and whatnot, keep yourselves busy. But something that Tony and Ashley both brought up, you got to set a time, okay? Time you don't get back. You can gain weight, you can lose weight, you can gain money, lose money. Time continues, okay? Time continues on. So now what I want to ask is, I'm gonna start off with an idea on how to keep long distance fun,
okay?
Right? So one idea is y'all both start a Netflix movie together and y'all both pick out the same bottle of wine or whatever you want to drink. That's just an idea, right? And the fun part of that is that Netflix might be a little bit of background noise while you talk, but you both can hear the noise, or you're watching the movie together, like, oh my gosh, what just happened, right? So you feel a little bit more connected. What would be an idea to keep, and we can keep it spicy, but we ain't bringing up no flashlights. You know what I'm saying? How do we keep it? How do we keep it a little bit hot and fun during long distance? Go ahead.
Some things I used to do was I would ask if they had certain restaurants in their city, try out certain menus, drinks, and things of that nature. And so it's like we had that experience even though we weren't together. And so, she's trying out these menus, I'm trying out these menus. And it was kind of quirky, but at the same time, like when we got together and we will meet up with other couples who were actually in the same city and together, they thought we were actually living in the same city because they was like, oh yeah, we went to BJ's. Oh yeah, we went over here. We went there and we tried that meal. And they're looking like, wait, are you guys here together? And we're like, no. Actually, I'm still in my city. She's still in hers. But I went, told her to try it. She tried something, and we're talking as if we was there, and in a way we weren't there closely, but in experience we was. So just having those same experiences. And I mean, if you have FaceTime, it makes everything better because you can FaceTime, be quirky, FaceTime in movies, FaceTime in other places, you know what I mean? And you both having that experience even though you guys aren't together. And it does create that type of bond where you know each other without being around each other. So I think a little bit of it it's really important. If you can't have it, even if you are in the same city, I think it's important for couples to try things, to have those experiences that you guys aren't around to kind of get a better, subconscious of who you really, entertaining at the time.
I like that. And you mentioned subconscious, right? Because when you go to sleep and you're like, someone out there cares about me, we went to the same restaurant, that leaves a mental impact, right? You're like, hey, we were both at this spot. So that's pretty good. What about you?
Well, kind of kicking off Tony's idea, I like the idea of doing something together. So something you could do is kind of do like a watch party, watch a movie together. And, you kind of feel like you actually went on a movie date, so to speak, That's ideas like that are really gonna kind of keep the relationship alive. And of course it's gonna require constant phone calls, FaceTime, just even in moments where you don't really feel like it, you want to kind of keep that open because you want that person to kind of see you when you're off, so to speak, still to really get to know you. And of course, you're going to be exchanging nudes, having phone sex, all that.
I'm a Photoshop the Rock's body on my
I like to spin off of that though. I see that gamers have a better connection with each other than most people do in the other dating realms.
Playing multiplayer games together.
See what I'm saying? I see gamers have a lot of connection because I'm a musician, so it's not like if I meet another musician, we can share. We can talk about music, but it's also like work for us, so it's a little different. But with gamers, even though they can get money off of it, and it's this whole new world of connection that I've seen with gamers, and I was like, dude, I'm almost jealous of it because I'm not. I used to be when I was a kid. I retired my thumbs when I graduated. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, I see that world now has endured to a whole thing now. I see like women into cosplay, you know what I mean? At first it was like a whole guys thing, but now women have even expressed that they love certain cartoons, they love certain video games, and I'm like, dude, she's hardcore. She dressed up in a whole character.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She dressed up in a whole character. It's all on my Instagram page. Like, I see these women dressed up in a whole characters, and I'm like, dude, this is a whole new world now. You know what I mean? I used to think like, dude, you better stop playing these games. You ain't gonna never meet a girl. Because I was a football jock, so I was like, you ain't gonna never meet no girls like that. And now I'm like, dude, maybe I should have stopped the games, you know what I'm saying?
He's talking the real games, right? Not the games people play, the real games.
Yeah, because Fortnite, I mean, all these other games out here, these anime games, stuff like that. Now girls are open to it and they're like exposed to it. And it's this whole world of connection. And I have a kid, he's all into games, and now he has a girlfriend that's into games like she is. And when we were kids, I was thinking, you'll never see the day, never see the day. Because girls hated it, right? Here you are, all of us hawking over a game, yelling and stuff. Well, girls gonna be into that, but now there's this whole world of connection. So guys and girls don't have to be afraid of these weird fantasies they have that maybe we can dress up and play video games. Like they do that now. So like connection in the game world, I see is a whole new thing. Like once you get into that, it's a whole new thing. So I was like, I'm super jealous. You can just have your date there, both of y'all can game together. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. I think the closest I've ever seen that's like, maybe a guy and a girl, they like the same football team. And that's the closest I've seen where it's like, it's okay. And she like, and both of y'all get excited. But now like the game world is like a whole new connection where she's, and you're like, what? Are you serious? Are you beating me right now? Hold on. But it's like, they had that connection. So it's cool, man, to see that, man. So I see how this whole connection thing is going full circle for dating.
Yeah, the thing about gaming is that I remember for like 10, 20 years ago, there were couples that were doing online weddings, like on World of Warcraft or, you know, any of these. I mean, nowadays,
it's crazy,
Fortnite, right? Or maybe Call of Duty.
Yes.
So this is how they met, right? So you have to think about it when you talk about being off, when we talk about the video games is their distraction, right? But at the same time, you get to see that avatar that represents that person, more than likely an introvert, moving around on screen like, that's my girl, right? That's my guy. So it's a whole nother level of interaction compared to what you do today on that FaceTime, right? I got the bonnet on, I'm all looking like I just crawled out of a cave and, you know, what you do today, right? Now all of a sudden you get on the game, toothpaste, right? All dried up, right? So now when you're doing the game, you can still have the toothpaste or whatever, but you're like, that's my girl on the same server. That's I'm looking at.
And that's their bond.
My sister actually, she met, I believe, her current fiance, the guy that she's going to marry, other boyfriends too, and a whole group of friends through gaming together. You know, they would play like League of Legends and shit. I'm not as much into the multiplayer gaming scene, so that's never happened to me. But if I met a girl that was a gamer girl, I mean, that would be dope as hell. I mean, I guess some of the girls that I have dated have been, you know.
Yeah. But
to have that common interest, not to have to deal with that, you know, your woman hears the PS4 beep in the middle of the night kind of thing.
Boom, sledgehammer coming.
Yeah. But didn't that make the connection a little bit different when you found out like she's a gamer too?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know it, you know, it hurts a little too when like, you know, you guys realize like, even though we have this platform that we enjoy, there's other areas that we may not enjoy by chess, so we have to go our separate ways. But it's like you automatically have a bond. Yeah. And there's already a world created for us to like just enjoy each other. You know, and the conversation is never dull because it's like, it's gaming. We talk about different games, different levels. What have you done? And like I saw the conversation never gets, because I was sitting in on somebody doing, they got the headphones on. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, okay. It was like, this is kind of a youth thing. But once other people chimed in, I saw that there was this girl that I guess everybody in this game world kind of like adored. And she did
simping.
She has like a podcast and everybody adores her. And it's like, you know, she has certain people that she likes to, you know, engage with, but you got to be on her level for that. You know what I mean? You got to pass, you know what I mean? So you got to be like a real, you know what I mean? And I was like, are you serious? So people are like putting in hard work to talk to this girl, but like she's idolizing. There's some guys out there, same thing. These girls are hoping to get to these certain levels to make this connection. So I just saw this whole world open up that has nothing to do with Tinder, nothing like everybody's connected. And I'm like, wow, this is a whole new realm of dating that's in its own bubble.
Yeah, its own ecosystem.
You don't need Instagram for it. They know each other. They get on at the same time. They talk about it. And I'm like, wow, they have this bubble where they're just in it and nobody fits in that world. So when you make this connection, I was like, this connection's got to be deep automatically because it's like, this is where we met, you know? So it's like, it's more than, you know, oh, we met at this club and I like going to this club.
Yeah, so it's the online club. But just to wrap this segment up, one thing that I thought of as Tony was talking about the ecosystem is that once they're done gaming, let's say they want to move in, they may not need that gaming from a distance as much, right? So just something to think about as we're recapping, right? We talked about 2 ups and 2 downs for long distance dating. We talked about the reality of long distance dating, right? A lot of y'all are ghosting people locally and you don't even consider long distance, right? In this disconnected world we live in. So there's still a chance that long distance has life. Now, we know that the reality is if you really want to connect and bond with this person, then you're going to have to set a timeline like we talked about. If it's just a situationship, then hey, that's just another FaceTime call at 9:30 at night or midnight, right? So we're going to wrap it up. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. What's going on, folks? The best thing about the Dating Doc is not only are we producing content that's going to engage, entertain, and educate you, but we also have events, everything from speed dating, wine mixers, scavenger hunts, escape rooms, etc. It's our way of connecting people in this disconnected world that's addicted to swiping apps. So look below for upcoming events, and don't forget that promo code down there so you can save some money and come join us. See you soon.